Good morning, everybody. My name is Austin Pretch, Senior Consultant and Solution Architect here at Oasis. I've been at Oasis for almost 2 years now, but in the NetSuite space for 8 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about the new release information for 2025.2. So as you know, NetSuite releases new features twice annually. And with this release, there's a lot in the mix. There are literally hundreds of new release features. But what I've done today is just picked out the top 7 that I think you're going to notice and care about the most. And I'm going to wrap up with a couple of notable just end of life deprecations that you should take note of if you haven't already. So we'll jump into it. All right, so starting off with our first enhancement, we have near match duplicate detection. So this one's really all about data quality. And, for a while, NetSuite's had duplicate detection. So for think about your customers and vendor records, the problem with it is it required that those entities have the same name, same email in order to work and flag. But now with some AI capabilities, it recognizes near matches. So if there's small spelling differences, small variations in the records, it's still going to catch those. So if you're creating a record, a new customer or a new vendor, what's going to happen is you're going to have a little banner at the top, and that's going to warn you with the option of to either merge or just fix that entry before you save it. And that's just going to be a huge time saver for anybody that's constantly cleaning up the customer or vendor lists. Next, we have multiple sessions per user. And this one is a huge quality of life update for our power users. So NetSuite now lets you stay logged in with up to 3 active sessions at once. So what does that mean? That means you can have production open, sandbox open, and maybe a whole nother NetSuite instance open, so long as you're using that same login email address, all at the same time without being booted out. So if you're an admin or a power user or a consultant like me, this is a huge win, because if you're comparing production and sandbox frequently, this is going to be a game changer. So in addition to that, there's also a new active session page that's going to be added. So you can see what sessions you currently have open. And if you want to, you can close the old ones. Having 3 sessions can be a lot to manage, I guess. So they have that new page, and you can close the old sessions should you need to do that. Next, we have bin put away CSV. So for the warehouse users out there, anybody with a warehouse and uses bins, this is big. This is not exclusive to NetSuite WMS. So what you can do now is bulk assign items to bins using the CSV import assistant. So before, if you had a bunch of items that had bins turned on, but you needed to assign them to a bin, somehow they weren't already in a bin, you use that bin put away worksheet. You can now use a CSV import to assign those bins. So use case I can think of is reorganizing bins, or if you're onboarding a new warehouse, instead of manually updating those item by item to each bin, you just drop that CSV file in and it loads it in. So this is a huge efficiency boost for inventory teams. Next, we have the service tier dashboard. So again, this is another win for the administrators out there. This effectively also can save your money, or your company some money. So NetSuite now gives you a service tier dashboard, and this allows you to see all of your transaction lines, user licenses, and file storage against your NetSuite account limits. So the benefit here is, instead of waiting for NetSuite to come to you and say, hey, you've hit a ceiling, you're out of storage, or you need more users, you can kind of proactively watch that on this dashboard. So this is really a great planning tool for preventing surprises. And I think a good way to use it is, if you have let's say you have a script that has hundreds of transaction lines or custom records that's taking up a lot of your tier, this would be a good way to expose that. And then you can go in and see if we could help you trim the script up, or if there's a solution that could be trimmed so it doesn't take up as much governance units. This is a good way to identify that as well. Moving on, we have Customer 360. So if you're viewing a customer record, you have that button at the top of the page that allows you to view the 360 dashboard. So some new features there. So NetSuite has added a new log of all of your customer interactions. So any transaction, email, task, note, activity, any touch point you're having with your customers now appear chronologically on that dashboard, So you can see the last interaction or any type of engagement you've had with that customer all in one single place. So that's really just a great way to keep tabs on customer health and keeps all of your departments interacting with that customer on the same page. Even better, if you click into it, it actually drills into a new Suite Analytics workbook, so you can see all of those interactions in one single place. And so in addition to just better visibility, you're not having to bounce between a bunch of saved searches, and you get a full, clear picture of that customer. When was the last time you engaged with it? And yeah, that's going to be a huge time saver as well. Moving on to our deprecations. Actually, I got one more slide before that. So for our WMS and supply planning users, there are a ton of new features. So I personally sat in on the release notes call for this that Oracle held. I don't have time to cover them all. So if you have any of these features, I'd honestly just encourage you to reach out to us because there's a lot going on. So starting with Smart Count, if you're using Smart Count in NetSuite, you now have the ability to block bins so nobody puts product away during the middle of a cycle count. For those using WMS, there's some new pick task filters that you can use. So you can filter pick tasks by item group, filter by bin zone. So that would only give a user in zone A to go pick from. And you can also filter by item commitment status for picking. So this is ultimately just going to make it a lot easier to assign picking logically and reduce wasted steps, both physically on the ground in your warehouse and just systematically as well. For those using supply planning MRP, there are some new action type filters that have been added as well. So now you can see orders that should be canceled, see orders that could move up sooner or pushed later with filters. So you can see all of those at one time. So that's going to be nice as well. All right, now moving to end of life deprecations. So the old NetSuite.com data source for Suite Analytics Connect is being retired in 2026.1. So NetSuite's been talking about this for a little while now, but this is kind of a last reminder. If you have any ODBC or Excel reports that are still tied to that old connection, they're just going to stop working. So I encourage you to take action now, and you need to migrate to the NetSuite 2.com data source as soon as possible. Like I said, they've been talking about this for a while, so you may have already done it. But if you're not sure, I would encourage you to reach out to us and we can verify for you if you're not sure how to do that. Our second end of life is a note on RevRec journal entry APIs. So the debit and credit lines in the RevRec journal entries are now read-only in SuiteScript and REST. So in the UI, they've always been locked, so you can't modify those lines, but scripts have previously been able to change those lines, but that is a loophole that's now being closed by Oracle. So if you have any custom scripts that touch those fields, they're going to break. So definitely test those. If you don't have a new release preview account, I would encourage you to get that. Test it before your production upgrade. And again, if you have any questions at all, just reach out to Oasis and we're happy to help take a look for you. All right, so just to wrap up, there are 100 new features, but I tried to pick the top 7 for you. Just don't forget the 2 watchouts. So Suite Analytics Connect and RevRec API restrictions. Test. If you have questions, reach to us, but a lot of exciting things coming to NetSuite.